Hey everybody, I'm Jesse and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk about differences between the 70s and the 80s and the stuff I see happening today. I just see a lot of stuff that's going on, and the institutions, the powers that be, they never give us any explanation, right? And I think it's my belief that there is an explanation. There's something there that is affecting young people, okay? Because when I look back at, when I was growing up, we didn't have all this violence and stuff. We had violence, fist fights, and even, murders and stuff, but we didn't have the widespread weird violence that we have today. And the case in point is a recent instance that happened here in Florida. Some young 14-year-old kid, after going to the movies with his parents, so his parents took him out to the movies and stuff, and they seemingly had a good night together, as a family. They get home, and the kid pulls out a gun and shoots both of them, okay? And then calls his sister, and then calls 911, and the cops come and get him, but he just offed both his parents. And then a younger guy in the military just shot up 5 other soldiers on the military base, 5 American soldiers in uniform while on a military base, and they're his fellow soldiers. And this kind of stuff is getting more and more prevalent. It's more and more common. It's not getting more rare. It's not just a couple of things that happened a few years ago and we can forget about it. This stuff is becoming more and more common. And this isn't a Second Amendment thing. I know everybody wants to argue about the Second Amendment and abortion and whatever. I'm not getting into that on this video. But the Australians, I think they banned their guns over there, and now they have gangs running around with machetes chopping people up. Now they're going to ban machetes. Or they are banning machetes and swords and shit like that. They're not even going to be allowed to sell them in the country. So then it's going to be knives, so that tells me that it's the implement you use to do the thing, to do the crime, is not at fault. It's something going on in people's minds that is the problem. And when I look back at my childhood and my young adult years, what was the difference back then than compared to now? And the thing that sticks out most at me is the medications. We just weren't on those mind-altering medications back then. We didn't have Adderall and Ritalin or whatever the hell they're handing out now. And what makes me wonder about that is that they never bring that up. When there's one of these mass shootings at a school or a movie theater or anything like that, they never bring up that, what medication that person was on or what medication was that person just getting off of. They never bring up medications, do they? And that makes me wonder why. Why is that just completely ignored? Okay, this person, whether this person is or is not taking these mind-altering medications. It seems like if none of these people were on these types of medications, that would be trumpeted, okay? This person was not on any medication at all. So that leads me to believe that most of these people who do this weird shit are on medication, all right? But the media is not going to tell you because it's the pharmaceutical industry who are their biggest funders. And when these companies have, an interested party paying their bills, they're gonna avoid talking bad about them. You know what I mean? The media isn't going to talk bad about the pharmaceutical industry because the pharmaceutical industry is paying their bills. So there's a conflict of interest there. when it comes to the media and the pharmaceutical industry. I mean, we've all seen the commercials, AstraZeneca or whatever, and all that bullshit that they just have commercials on there. And who the hell goes to their doctor and asks about that shit? Nobody does. You know, that those pharmaceutical industry is just that's just bribery. You know, they put those commercials up there and for a reason to give the media money. You know, I'm going to put 10 commercials on your program, you know, and I'll give you $10 million or whatever. And then it doesn't even need to be said that if you mess with me, if you mess with my business, I'm going to pull my advertising and you're going to lose $10 million. So it doesn't even need to be said. And I have no absolute proof. It's just, you know, looking back at the past and what's happening today. It could be something completely different. I do not know. But I know that the media and the institutions and not even the government are asking these questions. What is causing this shit? What is causing these shootings, these stabbings, these young people to behave and to act out this way? Can it be a combination of Ritalin or whatever? I don't know what they're Ritalin and you know, just sitting in front of a TV playing Call of Duty all day, where that's the way you solve problems is by shooting everything in sight. How does the combination of the drug and the virtual experience, how are they affecting a young mind? Because I've realized just here recently in the last 10 years just how much my mind was affected growing up when I was a kid. How much of that experience affects me today, even, you know, affects us as Generation X today. So when I can't imagine if my parents had put me on some kind of medication back then and sat me in front of a TV playing war games. So I don't know. I can't even imagine what that would have done to my mind. But another thing is that almost all of these mass shooters, you know, and these violent conflicts, these violent instances from young people, almost all of them are male, right? And almost all hyperactive kids that get on these medications are male, and almost all people who play these shooter games, Call of Duty and stuff, are male. So that tells me something right there. That's quite a coincidence there. And to say, you know, and I'm not downing Call of Duty or video games. I'm not down, but there's something there. And I think that it needs to be looked at least looked at to be discarded, to be taken out of the pool of ideas for causes of this problem. All right, if for no other reason, we need to look at it. We need to find out what the hell is going on. And these kids are ruining their lives. A 14-year-old kid just shot both of his parents, killed them both dead, and his life is ruined. Not to mention his parents' lives are over, but his life is completely ruined. If he is ever, fixed in his mind, get his mind right, imagine the guilt he will feel. That's not even to mention whatever prison sentence he's about to get. He's probably going to spend the rest of his life in prison if he's lucky. All because of some bullshit that could have been avoided, and, possibly at least. Just a possibility that could have been avoided is worth looking into, in my opinion. But it's just something to think about. Questions that I believe need to be asked. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel by becoming a member, I'll leave that link down in the description, or you can head over to the channel page and become a member that way. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I appreciate those of you who do that, so thank you very much. And I'll leave that link down in the description as well. If you're interested in Gen X gear, we got some pretty cool stuff over there at Redbubble. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff, t-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff. But I'll leave that link down in the description for any of you who are interested. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. That helps out one hell of a lot, so thank you to those of you who do that. I really appreciate it. If you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments. Or you can email us, and the email is genxthinks@gmail.com. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.